Welcome to the Land Your Bets sports betting show live stream. What's good, everybody? We're going to be getting into these bets for Saturday. Got a couple NBA games. Hopefully, we can find some more winners. Hopefully, you're also subscribed to that YouTube page so you can go ahead and get all of these bets when they come out. Put a video out last night with everything. Got that stuff rolling on the bottom line, per usual. If you are new, go ahead and jump into the comments. Put a bet in there if you want to take a look at it. I do want to still take a look at a couple things from this game. I'm going to run through what I've got as well. Let everybody get in here, and then we'll get right into it. But I wanted to make clear that there are some bets in, and I do want to show you guys the head-to-head stuff that I've been looking at on DraftKings, because I'm going to keep going back to that. I really like this head-to-head stuff. You can find some pretty good value on DK with the way that they structure these lines. So I'm going to present my screen when I do in a minute. We'll take a look at that stuff, but wait for some of you guys to get in here and give up some of the bets that you want to look at, and I will take a look at what I've got so far while we wait. All right, so let's take a look at what I did so far. I'm going to start with that head-to-head bet here with Luka. And look at what we've got for him. So I did take Luka on the rebounds over Chet Holmgren. So if you go into DK, into DraftKings, and you find those head-to-head tab, that's going to be under the inside the game, right? You can just find the head-to-head tab. I'll show you in a minute. And then you can see rebounds, points, three-pointers, assists, all that good stuff. And you can put these guys head to head. They'll give you a line. So for Luka, the line here, this is actually incorrect. The line for Luka is -0.5 on the what am I trying to say here? I'm gonna move this one out because I'm messing myself up. Basically, the line there is going to be Luka -1.5. So I'll take a look at that in a sec as I get the right graphic up. Aaron Wiggins is the right graphic, and our dude is nice with it. So I'm gonna go to Aaron Wiggins. Shout out Dom D. I don't think he's in here yet, but I do have a bet for him to get his in this game, because essentially where we're at with Aaron Wiggins is it's not Josh Giddey, and Josh Giddey ain't long for this series anymore. Why won't you let me? Everything's fucking up. Hold up. Basically for Wiggins, though, Giddey's done. I mean, if he gets 10 minutes in this game, I think that's probably what you would expect from him moving forward. All right, hold up one sec. I'm going to need to redo this real quick. That's my bad, y'all. Why won't you let me? Oh, man, that's mad annoying. What do you mean? No, that's not right. All right, well, let's just get into it. I don't need to worry about the Luka bet. Let me just pull up what I got here, and I'll start sharing my screen in a minute. But finishing up the Wiggins bet, yeah, like if you look at Josh Giddey's playing time, dude is out at this point. He played 2.5 minutes in the second half. He was a -20 yesterday, or 2 days ago when this team played. And Wiggins is the dude that, I mean, between he and Kayson Wallace, you could take either of them. I just think Wiggins is someone they trust more to take shots. He's a better offensive player. He has more ways to score than Kayson Wallace, who's a defensive specialist. Kayson's going to get on the floor. He's going to get his minutes, but Aaron Wiggins is also going to get 20 to 22. And if you put his filters on 18 in the games that he's played, 18 to 22 minutes, as that's what I'm projecting for him now moving forward in this series, especially, then you're looking at him hitting the 7 points that he needs here in 18 of those 22 games where he's played between 18 and 22 minutes. So that's a lot of the stuff we look at here is like, how can we sort of see what his projection, what he's done in the past with the minutes and stuff that we project him for. So with the 18 to 22 minutes projection, we're looking at a really solid hit rate here for him to get the 7 points. So really like Aaron Wiggins. And then in the late game, I've got a first quarter bet here for both of the Jays to get theirs. 5+ points for Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, 6+ points in the first quarter. That's even money. You parlay those together on DK, and you can take some alt first quarter lines on DK, which I really like as well. So you can mess around with the first quarter props if you want, instead of just having to take what the exact core line is, right? So that's what we did here for JB and JT. The interesting thing is Jaylen Brown has been a better first quarter performer than Jason Tatum so far, really on the season and in the playoffs. But at this point, the rotation for Joe Mazzulla is put Jason Tatum in for the entire first quarter, and Jaylen Brown plays about 9.5 minutes. So his props are a little bit lower because of the expected minutes in the first quarter. But JB has been a bully in the first quarter, taking a ton of shots. As you know, he had 15 the other game. They both hit this very consistently, especially Jaylen Brown on the season, 5+ in 83% of the games that he's played in the first quarter. So still really like him, going back to him. It worked last game, and I'm going back to it. For Boston and Cleveland as well, I like Boston in the first half. Like, to me, this is an overcorrection. Well, this was a thing where all of a sudden, because they did poorly in game 2, which is exactly what happened in the Miami series, now it's a 4.5 line when it was 8.5 a game ago. I don't think it deserves to be trimmed by 4 because they're playing in Cleveland and we just saw a bad game, which means we're getting a ton of value, which means we get to go ahead and zig on the zag there, or zag on the zig, however you want to put it. Because this is a movie that we've already seen play out. So I'm going to go back to that. And let me get one more in here for Dallas and the Thunder as well. This is the 5th bet I put into the video, and it's Daniel Gafford. And the fear here for Gafford would be his hand is hurt, but like, do you need your hand to dunk? Does do anything besides dunk on offense? So I like the points for Gafford because I love the shot attempts that he's taken against his team. I love the sort of unstoppable nature of Gafford when he gets into the lane against Chet Holmgren, which is something we've seen all season now from him. He took 6 shots last game, but he had 9 free throws. So you're either going to foul him and give him free throws, or you're going to let him get that dunk off. And I'm not worried about the hand. He said it's not great, but he's had worse. It's dislocated in that last game. So that was kind of tough, but still a good look for Gafford here. So I'm going to leave that up for a minute, look at some of the stuff that you got in here as well, and see what we got moving today. Ooh, we like Jalen Williams from DB. All right, fam, we'll get that in here real quick. Let's get DB on here. Here's what we got coming up next. I'm going to update it real quick and put come here and put up what is the issue. Now everything's not working. Come on, man. Hold up one sec. No way. What's going on? We might have to restart this thing if the keyboard ain't working. Stand by. Yo, technical difficulties out the ass, man. We don't have time for this. Bruh. Oh, man. All right. Stand by, y'all. I hate to do this, but we got to do it. Be right back. All right, we're back. Let's see how we do. If we could do a little bit better. I'm adding who am I adding here to the card that y'all just brought up? I liked the look. We can take a look at it. Yeah, we had to unplug and replug. Appreciate you, Sauce. What's good, bro? Having you in here. J Will, excuse me. So we'll go Jay Williams, get him up here. Classic over here. Got the stuff scrolling on the bottom line still too, so no worries there. Yeah, Derrick Jones is interesting, Dom. I'll take a look at Derrick Jones, but I'm starting to wonder if he's long for this series as well, because his biggest value was that DJJ was guarding SGA, and he got taken off of that job pretty quick because he did a pretty piss poor job of it. So I would consider that. Oh man, you want me to go back to Luke Cornett? That's fine. We can take a look at him. He screwed us last game for sure, but there was very few misses for the Cavs in this last game. So rebound chances were at a premium for sure, which is understandable. What's good, Aramis? Good to have you, bro. Would you ladder Gafford to 15? I don't see why not. I can look a little bit more deeply in it. I mean, he has hit that number, I think, in 3 of the 4 games he's gone over now versus this squad. So 15 plus isn't a bad look if you want to go there with Gafford. Pulling a couple more in here real quick. Kyrie under 24.5. All right, we can take a look at Kyrie because it's become really tough for me to figure out when the hell Kyrie is going to go off, and be honest with you. But I'll put him in here real quick. Put Luke at the end. We'll put Kyrie in here and see what's good. I really thought he was going to get some dimes, and then the next game is when he gets the dimes, right? So that's pretty annoying. I'm going to take a look at Derrick Jones Jr. in general, y'all. So we can we'll look at his rebounds and his stuff, but it's really about his playing time. And if we think it's about to go down the drain, like it might, because he got taken off at SGA, like I said. So I'm going to start sharing so I can show you guys some of what I'm talking about here as you're wondering about these bets, and we'll get into it. Now I got to open up props.cash. Quick reminder, if you do need to still get an account for props.cash, you can do that with the code that I've got running on the bottom, LYB24, if you want to get 25% off first month of P.C. Let me go ahead and present that for you guys so we can take a look at it. All right. So who am I starting with? I got Luka right here, right? So we do got to take a look at Luka. And see what we like for Luka, if anything at all. Like, obviously, the question is, how healthy is Luka Doncic? And I don't feel like I can answer that question adequately for you. He had to leave for a bit in the second half of last game, which was troublesome, and then he came back in and they did work, right? So it's not like he's incapable of coming back and having a big game in this one, but it's tough. Like, I think a lot of people like his props. He ended up going under the 30.5 from last game as well. 31.5 is what we took. For the assists, he didn't really get there either with the 7. So he's been struggling, man. And it's really going to come down to how healthy you think Luka Doncic is. Because if you think he's healthy, then yeah, he's still going to be a good bet at these numbers. If you look at his stuff on the season, like 9.7 assists, right at about 33 a game. And that's all in about a few less minutes. Like you expect 40 to 44 from Luka tonight if he's going to be healthy enough to give it, right? Last game, I'm going to go into the box score from this last game real quick. Just be able to pull that up. Where are you guys at? Here we go. We're going into G2 from this last game. Really, like one of the things to consider here, and I know Sauce was talking about this, and a couple guys on his show too, is like, I mean, you got to look at the 3-point percentage for Dallas as a starting point to go like, is that going to hold? Is 48.6% from deep for Dallas going to be the norm? Probably not, right? Like that's a pretty big outlier there. 18 for 37. PJ Washington, a huge reason for that, obviously. Even Josh Green, 3 for 5, which I'm happy to say. I mean, we had him on the points last game. So, in fact, let's go back to Josh Green. I'm going to put him in here to look at because he might be a situation where if he keeps going over, then we can eventually take an under for him on his props and just keep it going, because if he's going to shoot that well, then that's not something that you rely on happening consistently either, right? You look at Kyrie, took 8 shots in this last game, man. That's so tough to project, in part because these dudes were hitting. I mean, look at D Jones, right? 12 field goal attempts in the 28 minutes he was in. I want to see how that was split up in the second half. Yeah, he played evenly. So I don't know if we need to worry about him too much. I'm going to look at matchups real quick because I want to see, was he still guarding Luka for the majority of the game? I'm going to put Derek Jones in here. He guarded, I'm sorry, not Luka, Shai, obviously. SGA, he guarded him for 5 minutes and then guarded everybody else about the same amount. So I would still say he's the primary defender on SGA for the most part. But you also got a couple guys on there who were taking him on as well. Let me put Luka in here in the offense to see who was, SGA. I keep messing that up. SGA, all players. So when he was on offense, DJJ took him for the most, PJ Washington for a little bit as well. So yeah, I think they also like the look with PJ Washington on him, and even through Kyrie with that sort of layered defense that Dallas plays. If you watch the tape, it's really like Kyrie's up top. It's almost like a 1-1-3 defense essentially, right? And you've got PJ Washington sort of trying to play a little bit more free safety from the foul line and down, and even out onto the wing. So with that in mind, like PJ Washington's going to be in there. I know there was a look to talk about him. Let me put him in here as well. I've got SGA in here because I knew everybody would want to talk about him, but I'm going to put PJ before Luke Dort as well, and see what we like with him. Because it's now, it's what, 2.5 threes to get actual money. He's got to go over 2.5 to get that actual money for you, as opposed to those crappy odds for him to hit over 1.5, although 2.5 might be the core. Let's take a look at it. PJ Wash, put him in here. Just make sure we're good on that. So I'm trying to find an edge for Luka, y'all, and it's tough because if we look at, I believe it was a third quarter, right, that he came out and missed some time. I'm going to pull up Popcorn Machine. If you are not familiar with it, I would definitely take a look at the description of the video. Has the link to this in it. Popcornmachine.net is going to be really helpful because you can look at when people came in and out. So I'm looking at the second half of this last game for these teams. I'm going to game flow from this last game between OKC and Dallas, and I'm looking at Derek Jones Jr. right here. So you can see he played the light blue is going to be when he was in the game, right? And he subbed out. Second half, he still played his normal minutes, to be honest with you. So I don't think there's much there. There was some talk about him being taken off of Luka by a couple people, and I don't see that necessarily being the case. I still think that J Kidd throws him a bunch of different looks. You're not going to just see one dude guarding SGA. I keep saying Luka, but I mean SGA. All right, just know that if I'm talking about OKC Luka, I mean SGA. So for that Derek Jones, for Luka, I'm trying to see when he came out as well. So he barely came out, dude. Where's Luka? Oh, he's right here. So for Luka, yeah, I think this little gap in the third quarter that you can see right here, this little gap right here was him having to come out for injury, right? So you can probably add a solid, like, what did he play? 38 minutes in this last game. Just trying to put Luka up real quick. Head to head, last game played 41 minutes. You might be able to give him a few more minutes, honestly, that he would have been in there in this third quarter when he came out for, like, what is that, about 6 minutes? This is 2:08. This is 4.5 minutes. So maybe, and then he played the whole fourth basically until the very end when he came out. So the minutes should be there for him. He finally shot well in the first half yesterday. You can see for Luka, 7 for 11, 18 of his 29 in the first half. In the second half, 4 for 10, 1 for 2 from 3. He didn't have to do quite as much, so there's something to that. We have seen Kyrie take over in the second half before, but he just did not enact playoff Kyrie yesterday in a way that would make you feel comfortable continuing to take him. Luka first quarter points is interesting. Is it really 7.5? Let's see real quick. Somebody just threw Luka first quarter in there. Against this squad, obviously this season, 3 of 4. If we look at the last 10 in general, so this is a little bit before the playoffs too. Against LAC, he did it pretty consistently. Is it 8.5 now? Let me look at DK real quick to see what the first quarter points is for Luka on there. I do like sometimes with these stars to just, like, they're going to come out and take all these shots in the first quarter. You also know they're going to oftentimes play the whole first quarter, like Jason Tatum, which is why we like that bet in the other game. So I'm on DK, make that a little bigger, going into the first quarter points all the way at the bottom For Luka, looks like 7.5 minus 130. Not terrible. Let's look at FanDuel. I just pull these two up directly because it's a little bit easier to just make sure everything's pulling through 100%. Pulling up these first quarter points here for Luka on FD. 7.5. It's all minus 130. So they matched each other. Minus 130 for over 7.5. How many field goal attempts he been taking? Obviously, he went bonkers in the last one. 12, 10 in the first quarter of the last game, but basically 12 minutes. Maybe he comes out for the final horn. And we'll give him 11, right? 11 minutes with 8 field goal attempts. Come on, 8 field goal attempts to get 7.5. That feels right. Obviously, these other games are poo-poo. He was pretty hurt for this stretch here in LAC when he cracked his knee. So 8 to 9 feels like the right amount. I mean, he took 11 in one of these games when he's trying to come out. This feels like a big enough game for Luka to just come out and be shooting. So I like that look for the first quarter points more for Luka than anything else. Appreciate you, Nate. I'm gonna put that in there. Shout out my guy for that. I think that's the preferred play for Luka. I'm not telling you that it's a bad look to get him. Hold on a second. Minus 110. That's one you. Let's put Luka in here for the first quarter stuff. I like that look. So I'm going to make sure that that's something I want. I'm going to put half a unit on it, but minus 130 on that on DK, but still he's got to make 4 of his 8 attempts. Like I like him to make 4 of his 8 attempts. I'm not even including the fact that he's taken damn near 4 threes in these playoffs per first quarter. My God. In this last game, he took 5 threes in the first quarter. This is crazy. All right, I'm rolling with it. That's good enough for me to see for that the volume is going to be there for Luka. We'll put 0.75 on it as well. Bet. Got Luka in there. I appreciate the look. Everything's on the bottom line. If you are new, jump into the comments if you have a bet that you want to look at. Adriano, what's good, fam? We've got Aaron Wiggins in there. I took his points over. That's scrolling on the bottom line. Make sure you do check that out. Right now, as I'm talking to you, Aaron Wiggins is moving on the bottom line there. Over 6.5 was minus 125. Has that changed at all? I do wonder. Let me pull up my handy dandy prop finder tool real quick to see if Aaron Wiggins is still at 6.5 points, because I think that's a fair number, because like I said, I don't see much Josh Giddey in this game. Okay, so it's 7.5 now. It's gone up, and you take even money on that, whereas I took minus 125. That's a little bit scarier, but it's still, 4 buckets for him. Or, I mean, he needs to hit a 3 at that point. So consider that. Consider it. But I might have lost the edge there. The 18 to 20 points. Let me show you what I was looking at with Aaron Wiggins last night when I made the video. If you pull him up and look at do this for the full game. On the season for Aaron Wiggins, he's averaging 7 points per game, right? So that's under the 7.5, over the 6.5, first of all. If you make this 7.5, he's gone over in 28 of 84 games, right? I'm going to make it 6.5 real quick. 6.5, and now it's up to 48%, right? So that's a pretty big difference there. 33 to hold up real quick. We'll go to 7.5. 33% versus 48%. That's a pretty big jump. So it's a little bit worse at this. It's a lot of bit worse, I should say, at the 7.5. I'm gonna go back down. Is that okay, cool. We're still good. 7.5 is where he's at. But if we look at him playing the amount of minutes, so this is one of the beautiful parts about props.cash. I can filter the different stats so I can see the specific situations that might be a little bit more relevant to the context of this game. So I think 18 is a good floor for him. I think 22 is even a generous, lack of generous, rather, I should say, sort of like a really conservative look at his minutes in this game. He's now played, if you look at the last 2, right? Let me do head to head. You can see this last one he played between 18 22. The other game he actually might have only played 17. But if you look at him on the season when he plays this much, now look at this. This is 7.5 points, which jumped up to. This is now a 6 out of 14 hit rate. Even though he's averaging 9 points per game in these situations, there's a couple bloated looks here where he just went off for 22, probably hit a ton of threes in that game earlier in the season in January. So that's a bit more of the outlier. But look at these 7s. Look at why 6.5 versus 7 is such a key number. Right. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these 14 games. He finished with 7 points. Like, what does that tell you right there? It tells you 6.5 is a freaking key ass number for Aaron Wiggins big time, because this is the projections that I have for him is about 18 to 22, averaging 9. You get my point, right? The average I'm not even as worried about here because there's so many 7s on the board. So 7.5 scares me. If you want to add Aaron Wiggins now, the safe play here, or at least a smart bet that gives you enough of an edge to actually put money on this, is going to be 6.5. 7.5 is a little worse. If you want to look at the rebounds, 3.5, that's plus money. So you're not going to get much help by adding the rebounds and the assists either. Both plus money for assists and rebounds, which aren't even available everywhere for him. Rebounds are, but not the other one. PRA also available only on BetMGM. So you're really looking at like PR, or the rebounds is what most of these main books are giving you. Let's put him back here at the time frame that I think he's going to play, right? Let's get him back to 18 to 22 minutes and see what he does. And this is going to be a pretty good matchup for him in the sense that he's standing in the corner, and this is where the Mavs, both these teams are weakest there. But look at this. So this is 10.5 points in rebounds where it was 9.5. And look at these 10s hanging right there too. So he still gets the points and rebounds actually a little bit more than the points alone. This might actually be the better play, is the 10.5. He's averaging 12. And in these situations, we're looking at an average of 20 minutes. And I'm projecting him at 22. I think that's a fair projection for him. If you look at him in these last two games, in this one for Wiggins, and one more thing I want to show you here. So this is the second half. And that is what I want to show you. Wiggins started the second half of this last game because Giddey was already so bad they couldn't put him back in to start the second half. So Aaron Wiggins got 14 minutes in the second half in an official moment in time where Josh Giddey is done, right? He played 2 minutes and 56 seconds in the second half, did Giddey, because he was a minus 14 in the first half. Minus 20 for the game. So I don't know how you keep giving Giddey minutes. He's not making shots. He's not helping out on the, like, okay, he's got a couple assists in the first half, but he's not doing much of anything, to be honest. He got 2 boards in 3 minutes. Good for him. They thought he was going to be able to be that outlet and actually hit a couple of these threes. He's been working on it. That's what we heard, but he hasn't been. He's not a great fade yet because it's like 10.5 PRA for him. I think the better way to fade Giddey is back Aaron Wiggins to get his in this game. He took the 6 shots yesterday. I think 7 shots is probably a good ceiling for him, 6 to 7 for Aaron Wiggins. So that's where I'm at with him. I think if you want to add the rebounds, you're fine to do it because now that the points are up so high, 7.5, like I said, very key number here. If you look at what he does when he plays the 18 to 22 that I got him for in this game. So I'm staying away from the points once it gets to 7.5. I think PR at 10.5 is fair. Let me see for the rebounds alone real quick. So the rebounds on the season, he's at 2.5, right? And that's in 15.9 minutes. So we put him back up to the 18 to 22 that we think he's going to play. And he could get 24. Don't get me wrong, but 22 I think is a good conservative little range right here for him. The rebounds still aren't as much there. Now he gets 3 a lot. So if you do think he's going to get the 7 points, which I've got him getting at least 7, then you're probably not in a bad spot to take the rebounds as well. I think once you get to 7.5 points, the PR is better because it's 7.5 points, but 3.5 rebounds. That should equal 11. But you get a little bit of a better price there because you don't need to get him to get 12. You just need him to get 11. I think that's pretty fair, right? Like, so here's my point. If he has 7.5 points, but 3.5 rebounds, well, that should come out to 12. That equals 12. And he needs to get 11 if you take him at the 10.5 PR. So you get a little bit of a bump there, right? You see what I'm saying? The math isn't mathing for that. You can actually get him at a better price and a better line if you take the points and rebounds here instead of the points now that it's at 7.5. I hope that all made sense, but that's the play for Wiggins here. I'm going to put that up since I have him as a play already in the bottom line that I put in last night. I'm going to also make clear, like if you're taking Aaron Wiggins now, I would not avoid. I'm putting avoid 7.5 points / take over 10.5 PR. That's the play here for Wiggins. So that's scrolling on the bottom line to make that clear to everybody, since I know 6.5 is no longer available. But if you are subscribed to the page and you got that video last night, then you got ahead of this and you hit Aaron Wiggins at 6.5. That would be the benefit of being in the Discord as well. Link is in the description if you want that. Let's keep it moving here. Now that I give my diatribe on Aaron Wiggins, we took Luka in the first quarter. I don't really need to look at much else because I also have Luka to get like 10 boards. And the way that I have that is on those head-to-head bets. Let me just show you what I mean. So if you're in you're on DraftKings, you're in the OKC Dallas game right here. If you go over to, hold up real quick, I need to get on the hard wire. I know it's going to cut out for 1 sec, but it's going to come back. All right. If you are looking at Luka, if you're looking at this game right here and you go head to head. So I'm on player points right now. I can scroll over and go head to head right here, head to head player props, right? And now I have a whole host of options. I got points right here. I'm going to collapse that real quick, but I can look at head-to-head points, head-to-head assists, head-to-head threes. And this looks like head-to-head is, and then I can combine them too. So this is a fun one where, do you think Jalen Williams and Kyrie Irving are going to combine for over 10.5 or under 10.5? These all start coming in the playoffs because there's less games. So DK has the ability to look at more bets in each game and get a little bit creative. And this is one of the best places to do it. You always want to double check both players' individual props before you just go ahead and hit one to beat the other, right? So if we're looking at head-to-head assists instead of total, I'll look at where did rebounds go? No way. They took down bet that I made last night. That's so dumb. Like, what's your fucking problem? Hold up, dude. That's crazy. All right. Well, rebounds was there if you wanted it. Not sure that it's not showing up anymore for whatever reason, but that is a really fun way to get these guys against each other. I'll just show you the head-to-head assists and stuff instead real quick, and see what we got going. Check and make sure I'm doing this right so I can show you the right stuff. Cool. All right. So if you look at let's look at assists for a minute, right? If you're looking at the dimes, so they're only giving us one. Did somebody get announced, like tweaked or something? Am I missing something right here? Is there hold up. Where's my there's no notifications coming out from Underdog. So Luka's a go, whatever. Jared Allen, we can talk about that in a minute, but there's no news telling me that like in some way that that there's anybody out. So I don't know why they took those head-to-heads down. Maybe they were getting slammed on them. But let's just use this real quick and we'll move on. Kyrie to get one more assist than J-Dub, right? So it's plus 105 for him to get one more assist. And then minus 115, I think is it's the money line. So you can take the money line here instead of the half if you want. That would be what you would do if you were taking J-Dub, because he's plus a half. So if you take the money line for him, now there's really there's no way he's got to outright beat Kyrie, which is not worth it. So make sure that you're checking those odds, because that's not good. But the player assist right here, you've got Kyrie 5.5, J-Dub 4.5. So it does make sense that you would say Kyrie at plus, he's got to get one more. It makes sense. But that's where I'm finding these. And I really like these. You can definitely do a little bit of math here to see who you expect. You can look at projected shots. Yesterday, we slammed Tyrese Halliburton to have more threes than Jalen Brunson. That was plus 114. So you're going to find some bets like that are way off. These look a little bit fair. They're not giving plus money for anybody now because they're scared, because they probably lost yesterday with stupid bets like Tyrese and Jalen Brunson. Like, yeah, Tyrese was always going to get one more three than Jalen Brunson. He shot like 14 of them. Brunson shot like 5 of them, 6 of them. So that's what you want to look at, is the volume there. But that's just where those bets are at. I hope you guys get something out of that. Let me keep moving to a couple other things. Oh, his Gafford's points dropped to 10.5. So I'm on the wrong side of that with my 11.5, which is mad annoying. Let's see. Show you the parlay. I'm not sure which parlay you're talking about, but everything is scrolling on the bottom. No worries. I know I talk fast and shit, but everything's scrolling on the bottom. So if you look right now, I've got some leans up. Oh no, these leans are wrong. My bad. Let me take these off. I don't need these leans. I don't have, those were yesterday's leans, but I'm going to show you, if I do have some leans here, then I'll let you know, as opposed to just a straight bet. But everything is scrolling on the bottom line. So hopefully you can track along that way if you're able to look at the screen. Let me see. Let's get into SGA though, while we're here. Going to look at Shai Gilgeous, 29.5 points for Shai, and the rebounds are at 6.5. The dimes are at 6.5. So this went way up, right? Because these were at 5.5 for both of these for a while, and now they're both at 6.5. The boards as well. Let's look at what he's been doing real quick in these playoffs. We'll go Dallas, and we'll just do playoffs right now. So he's played them 6 times this season now, right? They played 4 times in the regular season, which makes sense. The rebounds he went over in the last 2 really pretty easily, right? And then this game we don't do much with because there was no starters in there for Dallas. And then on 3-14, he had 9 as well. What are his rebound chances when he goes up against this team? And you can see he even had 1.6 here. So the 5.5 has a better hit rate than the 6.5 for sure. The rebound chances against this squad, we're looking at 10.8, but those have gone way up, obviously. Let's see who Shai is guarding real quick. This is one of the things I always want to look at when I'm looking at rebounds, is like, who are you guarding? Who is guarding you? Obviously because of the individual boxing out matchup, but also because of where you're standing on the floor. So if Shai is guarding somebody who's a little closer to the basket more frequently, he's going to be in better position to get these boards, right? He's guarding PJ Washington, who is mostly standing out there as a catch and shoot dude. You can see he took 5 threes, or he took 12 threes yesterday, or 14 or whatever it was. I think he was 7 for 12. 5 of those came against SGA, D'ing him up. That's not a good rebound match for him, but it also does pull him away from the basket, I would assume, a bit more, even though TJ's up their power forward. So that's interesting. I don't know if I gain much from that. Those rebound chances are crazy, though. Like, if he's going to keep getting 15 or 16 rebound chances, for him to get 7 boards on that is pretty good. I mean, 7 on 15 is still not even 50%. Let's see what he was on the season. I just kind of want to see how good of a rebounder in general he was. I'm going to go to players. So now I'm in an NBA advanced stats page, so I can sort of really easily manipulate all these stats. So I'm looking at players, and I'm going to tracking data. This is where you see rebound chances, potential assists. You can see how often somebody drives. how often they catch and shoot versus pull up, all that stuff. It's really helpful when you're looking at this matchups. But I'm going to go to rebounding for Shai. I'm going to keep it to the regular season and just filter this to only Oklahoma City. Rebound chances for SGA on the season, he's at 9. So he's way above his pay grade, but he's getting 5.5 on those. So that's about a 60% rebound chance rate. I'd say that's pretty fair, but obviously the more rebounds that go up, the more likely it is he's going to get miss a few more as well. Trying to see here. He doesn't really defer, which is nice, because if he deferred, that means like you're going to see everybody on Dallas, for instance, defer to Shai or to Lucas. They like Luka to get the rebound so he can get out into transition already without even needing a pass. So the ball's already in his hands. That's a big part of Luka getting those boards. But if we look at rebounding for Shai in the playoffs real quick, let's change this to playoffs. Keep the Thunder in there. In the playoffs, he's up to 12.2 on average. And obviously the 15 and 16 last game are going to do a lot to get him there. How often has he gotten 7 in the playoffs real quick? Let's do not versus Dallas. Let's do 2023 playoffs. So he only did it once against NOP, but what were his rebound chances there? Going all the way down. 15 in that game, 18. So he's been boarding a lot lately. I don't know that I'm even scared of taking Shai boards at this point. The potential assists, since we're on, maybe we even look at RA for him, but combining those is scary. The potential assists real quick, pulling up assists. So he's been diming in these playoffs, and they're going to keep trying to force the ball out of his hands, I would imagine. So we're basically at 12 in the playoffs, but in these last 4, we're up at about 13.5 for these potential assists. And he's gotten this number. He didn't get it against NOP. I believe that was a bad shooting game. That was a bit of an outlier, right? Because he had 15 potentials and only got 3 dimes. So that's a bit of an outlier. But now we move to the road, where we do know that this team is a little bit worse on the road. The role players are a little bit worse on the road. And the assists now scare me a lot more than the boards do. And obviously the boards are I'm being told they have a much likelier chance of happening with the rebounds. The problem is on the season, he's at 5.7. So do we just bump him up because it's playoffs and it's a different game? 34 minutes on the regular season, playoffs averaging 38 minutes, right? So, man. And this was a blowout. So he only played 35. I believe that was too. They just started whooping up on the Pellies in the last part of the series there. So he didn't have to play that much, but the rebounds still feel a little bit dicey for Shai. The points actually feel a little bit less dicey for Shai because of the fact that he's playing on the road. And like I said, his role players don't do as well on the road. I mean, nobody does, right? That's the whole point here. But for Shai, for me at this point, man, I don't know why I wouldn't take over on maybe like a PR or just because like, I think he'll do both of those a lot. Obviously, they can try to get the ball out of his hands. He went under the points right here, but because he got the boards, I think that's a better play then. You got 36.5. In the playoffs, he's averaging 36. Those rebound chances have gone crazy over the last couple. I'm trying to see what you guys think too. Let's see real quick. Yeah, no worries, Cody. Appreciate you being in here. We look at score odds too. I have one for the Boston game here. If you want to look at that first half between OKC, that's tough. I can see both teams coming out pretty hot. But my thing with Dallas is they had to hit so many threes. I showed you that at the start. They had to hit so many threes in this game to win by 9. They went 18. I got second half up. They went 18 for 37 though from deep. So that's a bit of an outlier. It's not something they can't do. They're a team that has consistently relied on threes. Like, I'll show you one more thing real quick. If I go back to the stats page for Dallas specifically, you can see what I mean. If I pull them up, look at what the difference in the regular season between wins and losses. So in their wins, they scored a lot more points, obviously 17 more. And their threes, they hit 16 threes versus 12.7. So basically 3 more threes a game is what they hit when they were winning versus when they were losing. Big part of all that. And the assists were there because the threes are going in. So they're such a make or miss team. I hate betting on Dallas. I do think coming home in game 3, this is kind of what they do. Jay Kidd has lost has lost the first game of like 4 different playoff series. And all 4 of those, his team came back and won, or 3 of the 4. But either way, this is something they do where they come back and they pull it out. So I'm a little bit worried about anything other than like, what I mean by worried is I'd like Dallas a little bit more. I can't get away from it now that it's at -2. I still think the Thunder are if they can at least limit threes, like they're going to take one of these next 2 games, but it's hard for me to predict it. I will be on the Thunder if they lose this game. I'll be on them in game 4 to cover whatever that spread turns into. in this game, it's a bit more of a crapshoot. I don't have a bet for either side on this one, although I like an over more than anything. So if I was playing a side or a total in this game, it would be over. It's now down to 217.5. It was 218 on some books yesterday. I still think that's a good number to go over for these two teams who do this all the time. And in game one, they got 218, which was now an over for 217.5, and that was with Dallas scoring 95 points. So you see the fluctuation of Dallas, 119 one game, 95 the next game, whereas OKC still at about 110 to 120 no matter what. So I still think 110 to 120 for OKC is good enough for Dallas to come along for the ride. I think for Shai, I prefer the points and rebounds to anything. If you're going to take it, that would be my lean. You can minus 120 is not going to give you much of an edge. So that's why it's more of a lean than anything for SGA on the points and rebounds. But I'll put that in here as the lean. If you're going to take anything for Shai, I would take over PR. All right. And that is minus 120 if you want it. But that is just a lean for your boy. So let's move it to PJ Washington real quick and see if we like anything for PJ here after he went cuckoo bananas in the last game and just hit all of his threes from everywhere. Let's see. Yeah, we'll look at that right now, Dave. We'll get that in there. Yeah, RA for sure. It's been cashing. If you want to look at SGA RA instead of the PR, the assists scare me a little bit more now that they're at minus. It's a 6.5 for him to get that. And then we're talking about real quick, the 6.5 is at plus 118. So you can see the odds from the books are telling you, like, we know that we're giving you a high number here, and if you want to take over, we're willing to give you plus 118 on your money, because that's an implied probability of like 44% or something. I'll show you what I mean real quick. If you pull up a odds calculator, what you can find real quick to make sure you're not getting completely screwed here, if you put the American odds of 118, they're saying there's about a 46% chance that actually happens, which is less than 50. If you think it's worth it, right? Okay, it's not even a 50-50 shot, but you get the plus 118. That's fine. But I think there's other ways to play Shai. I think the rebounds are a little bit more likely in this one. Obviously, we need Dallas to miss a bunch, but they shot like crazy last game, and he still got there with the boards. Obviously, the assist too. So keep that in mind. But that's what my lean is. I'm looking at who is my next man up real quick. PJ. All right, PJ on the points. Yeah, I mean, 13.5. We've now gotten out of control, y'all. I know would he hit 7 threes? So 21 of his 29 came from deep yesterday. He shot, what's that, like 62% from deep yesterday? I mean, let's be a little bit cautious here with PJ Washington, who is not the most consistent scorer of all time. So he took 11 yesterday. I think it's 12. So I think that's wrong, but not yesterday, 2 days ago. I thought he took 12. Didn't this say that he took 12? Real quick. Stuff not pulling through. Nope, I'm wrong. 7 for 11 from deep for PJ Washington. So 64%. You think he's going to do that again? He did have 11 boards. That's pretty impressive. So I've often gone to the PR for PJ. I know now people are going to want to go to the 3P. Let me pull up Props Madness real quick, because that is going to be a good place to see why he might be a good play. He continues to be a good play against his team. If you can get a 12.5 still on FanDuel, it looks like. But one of the reasons I love Props Madness is you can go down and see play type analysis, right? So on down here, his most common shot and what he's scoring the most points off of is spot up. He's also going to the free throw line for 2.5 points per game, another 21%. So about half his points are coming from spot up or free throws. The transition's not as easy because the Thunder are the best transition defense in the league, but he should continue to be a good matchup. He's basically their best spot up shooter at this point. I saw someone ask about THJ. It's a little bit relevant because he's another spot up guy that would take some stuff from PJ Washington, but he played decent minutes in this last game, I believe. He hit 2 threes in this one. He got 18.7. I think his minutes might start to rise. It was one reason I was a little bit scared of Josh Green last game, and then still went with it, and he still got more minutes than Tim Hardaway. But PJ, he wasn't in foul trouble this game either, I don't believe. Let me just make sure. He fouled out. He's always in foul trouble. Always in foul trouble for PJ Washington. That's another scary thing about him, is he's liable to lose minutes when he can't stay on the floor. And that's another reason why Derrick Jones Jr. might keep getting minutes no matter what, is because they like to have at least one of their 2 best defenders on the floor, at least perimeter defenders, between PJ and Derrick Jones. Obviously, Daniel Gafford, their best defender down low. I hate going back to PJ Washington. I'll be honest with you. Like, even in the playoffs, 2.4 threes with one of them hitting 7, but he's only gone over in 3 of 8 to hit the 2.5, right? On the season, it's at 1.9, but let me do last 30, because it's since he got to Dallas. And in the last 30, still 10 of 30. So this is still just a crapshoot bet to me, man. Like, even if we use his numbers with Dallas alone in the last 30 games as like our sample size to see what we think. And he's played how many minutes? Let's look at the last 5 real quick. He's played yeah, he's at about 35 minutes a game in the playoffs. He would play 41 more often if he could stay on the floor, but in all these games, he gets fouls all of the time, and that's why he's got to come out and can't even get to the 40 sometimes, right? He probably would have played more than 40 in this last game, but he fouled out. So it's tough to back PJ. I basically am off him at this point unless I get a really, really juicy line for him. I mean, now it's begging for us to go under at 13.5. I mean, in the last 30 games, he's averaging 12.3. That's in 33 minutes. Even if you give him a few more, let's do that. Let's just put the points in there for PJ. I'm going to pull up my my handy dandy prop finder tool. Or not prop finder tool, but just a prop tool that's just basically a simple model, as basic of a model as you could have, because it's just going to help us see if the price is worth it. Is this worth it at the odds that we're getting here? So you got to make your own projections, obviously, and then take a data size that you think is good and go with it. So I'll show you what I mean real quick. I'm going to take PJ and I'm taking his points, and they're at 13.5. The under odds, mess that up. Under odds for PJ are going to be minus 104 on Caesars and minus, you can get, is this, yeah, minus 10. Let me, props is better for this. Props Madness pulling up PR. I'm sorry, points, not PR. Points for him. You can get 12.5. Okay, so 12.5 would be the line. Let's do it at 12.5 then. And if you want to go over. So it's a minus 118 to the over, minus 104 to the under, right? All right, pull this up over here. I just want to make sure I remember. Minus 118 to the over, minus 104 to the under. So under minus 104, over minus 118, minutes average. So in this sample size here, and he's at about 33 minutes, and that's the whole season. I think for the playoffs is a little bit better, and that's at 35. So we'll give him 34.7 as his minutes that he's been averaging doing this. What were his numbers here? Actually, hold up. I don't want to mess this up too bad. So in the playoffs, it looks like he's at 13 points per game, right? This is in the playoffs. Okay. So we'll use that for now. 13 points per game. Obviously he hasn't gone over very much, so keep that in mind, but 13 points per game, in the 34.7 minutes. That's what we'll use as our sample size. So 13 even. If we project his minutes we'll give him 38, assuming he doesn't get into big foul trouble. That's going to give him an edge to the over. I get that. So there is an edge to the over at 12.5 if you use that sample size. I think we should go bigger than that, though. I think we should use the sample size from the season with him and with he and this team. And with this team in the last 30 games, not the playoffs, we're looking at 12.3 points per game in 33.2 minutes. So we're going to use that 33.2. 12.2 points per game. And we're going to give him 38 tonight, which puts him right at about 13. So you're going to see there's basically no edge. Now I got to take my odds and go, what's minus 118, right? That's one of his odds. That's 54%. Which one was minus 118? That's the over is 54% likelihood to the over. And the under is minus 104, which I believe is 51%. Just put that in here, minus 104. Come on, dog. Minus 104 is going to give us 51%. Yeah. So 51% is the implied probability there. So you can see we don't have an edge either way. You want this to be positive 10% or better before you even make a bet, consider making a bet on this. And there's just no edge with PJ the way that he's going to play this inconsistently, under more than he's over. These stats are even bloated because he got a 29 pointer here, which is the outlier for him. Like anything that's above that, anything that's above the round, like basically 20 points is what his normal ceiling should be when he plays with this team. So there's just too much inconsistency. Even the matchup is fine for him. It's still it's a pass for me on PJ. I know he did it last game, but yeah, this is not where I'm at. So moving this along here, let me get PJ Washington out of here. He's a pass for me. We wanted to look at Lou Dort and J Will, not J Dub. So I'll do that. Precious Achua, if that's what you're asking about, but I don't think I have him listed anywhere. I don't like Derek Lively unless you think that Daniel Gafford is not going to get minutes because he's hurt. From what I understand, he's still fine to play. So there's not necessarily anything that would keep his minutes down. And if his minutes are not going down, I don't like Derek Lively in his performances lately, and he's just been way worse in the playoffs. So just keep that in mind. For Dort, it's going to be another crapshoot, but let's see if there's any value on Lugens here. So we're talking about Lou for the points or the threes. Let's pull my bad. Can we go back, please? Pulling Lou back up. Let me get these down. So we got Lou and Jay Will. We can still get Derek Jones and Kyrie before we move on to the next game. I do have Josh Green still in here. I know Tim Hardaway Jr. If anybody has any news that you found about Tim Hardaway Jr. maybe playing, maybe not playing, like let me know. Let me look at Lou Dort though, because he keeps getting brought up. Where you at, Lugens? Lugens. All right. This is the last 10. So let's dumb this down to the playoffs for a minute and see what Big Lou's been doing. Besides locking people up on defense in the torture chamber, we got Lou with 8 and 7 points respectively in this game. If we look at him versus his team in the season, he had a 10er, a 5, 12, and yeah, these are going to be not necessarily the best use cases because there was a lot of games that were just blowouts or nobody played for Dallas, that kind of stuff. So the season stuff doesn't help us as much. He only played the 25 minutes there in game 1. Did he get in foul trouble? I'm going to go back and see real quick if that was a reason for it. In fact, actually, this is better on Props Madness for this exact reason. So if I go to Lugens right here, I believe I can see if he got in foul trouble in game 1. Can I not? No, I can't see fouls yet over here. So let's go over to the actual box score. I'm going to go into game 1 and see if Lou played 25 minutes because he got fouls. I can't remember now. Yeah, he had 5 personals. So they definitely took him out for pretty large stretches where he wasn't able to stay in the game because they didn't want him to foul out. So I think you still give him a lot more likely he plays like 32 minutes. So this is let me go back to playoffs real quick and do on the season, the playoffs. He was at, yeah, see, they're trying, they want him to play 30 plus. So I think you put him at about 30 to 34 minutes and you feel good about it. Let's see about the threes. He has been hitting the threes a lot more than just getting the points. You're right about that. And that is going to be a good look for him because if you look at where he scores from, 18% of his shots coming from the corner and spot up, which is going to be a little bit easier against Dallas, but they are much more susceptible to corner threes than anywhere else. So guys like him, Aaron Wiggins, and Kason Wallace are all a little bit boosted in their ability to hit threes when they play against this team where they sort of funnel the ball to the corner and allow those shots from those worse players than they do from the SGAs and the J Dubs of the world. So that adds up that he's still going to be pretty open. How many has he taken? So he's at 3 for 8. No, this is 2 for 4 from 3 last game. 2 for 5, 2 for 5, 4 for 8, 4 for 6. I think 5 to 6 threes is probably what you put him at. And now you need him to hit 40%, which I mean is something he can do. But let's tweak these minutes for a minute. Let's put him at 30. Assuming he stays out of foul trouble on Luka, we'll put him at 30 to 33 minutes on the season. So on the season, if you put him at this is a hit rate of 15 of 22. It's a lot better, right? I kind of want to do it over here so I can see his attempts and everything really easily. So I'm on threes right now. I'm looking at the regular season, and I'm going to bump his minutes up to 30 to 33, which I think is reasonable because that's what they'd like him to play if he could stay on the floor against Luka. So I'll put him at 30, and I'll cap this at about 34, just so it's not taking into consideration these crazy games. Now we're at a hit rate of 23 out of 29 on the season, where he's played this many minutes. So it's starting to look a lot better, right? If we put him at this many minutes, we take an average of 32 in 29 games. I think that's a pretty fair assumption. He's at 2.5 threes. This Thunder team's pretty good at limiting threes, but let me go back to Lou on Props Madness, see about the 3-point line. So the opponent defense, this is for the Mavs. Not awesome, to be honest, like 14th above the break, but not good in the corners. So once again, that's where Lou's taking more threes from, I believe, than the top. Oh no, he's taking 45% from top of the key. So yeah, a little bit harder, but he's getting in the corners as well for a couple. Let's use this sample size to see if we think it's worth it for Lou on the threes with this price. Because what this price is, for him to hit 1.5, we can get minus 130 is the best number, with plus 110 to the under as the best number. I'm going to put that in here real quick and see what we find. Lou Gens, spelled that right. Thank you. 3 p.m., 1.5. My bad. 3 p.m. No, damn it. Not time. Threes made. There we go. All right. Under odds is 110. The over odds are minus 130, right? And this is when he plays this amount of minutes, he is averaging 32. So that's a fair average, 32 minutes on average in these situations. And the prop average is 2.5. All right. Now we're going to project his minutes. I think we still give him 32. That's what I think is a good projection for Lou. In fact, let me go to RotoWire real quick and see I want to see how right RotoWire was yesterday. So if you're not using RotoWire, this is one of the sites you can pull up to get the projected minutes for players, which is really helpful to see what other what other sites are projecting, right? So we've got projected minutes for Wiggins. We got him at 31. All right, I think that's fair. Like I was saying, 32 to 30 to 34. This falls in that range. So I think 31 is a fair number. Let's use that for his projected minutes just because someone else gave it to us. It's a little bit less than the 32 when he averages, but you get my point. All right, 31. The over-under probability at plus 110 is going to be like 4110. That's a 48% implied probability to the under. So 48%. I mean, they don't think it's going to happen, but to the over at minus 130, that is a minus 130. That is a 57% likelihood that it goes down, right? So 57% gives us a 37% edge still, according to this. So if you think the shots are still going to be there for him in this one, pretty good look. So far, head to head, if we look at just these playoffs, he hit 2 and 2, and he took, just want to make sure I got this right, 4, 5. That's a little bit scary. 4 and 5. He needs to hit 2, and you only get minus 130 back on your money. I know that the amount of threes he's hit gives you a good look at it, but on the season, I'm just going to look at what the 3PA were when he was in the minutes that we gave him. So I'm putting this back up to, I'll just put this to 30, 30 to 34 again. 30 to 34. And now if we look at the amount of threes he's taking in these situations, where'd you go? 3-point attempts right here, 5.6, right? So it's 5 to 6 threes. He's got to hit 2 of them. It's a gamble for sure. I think it's a lean for me would be to the over because the model tells me to, but I'm not betting on Lu Dort for threes. This is not something that I feel comfortable with, just straight up. So I don't know what else to tell you about it. Lu Dort over 1.5, 3 p.m. would be a lean, but it's only minus 130. I know that the model is still telling us that we get an edge there, but it's a pass for me. Like I don't have to listen to what the model says. So I'm going to take Dort threes off there. The points are a pass entirely, by the way. Like if he's not hitting threes, then he ain't getting points. And let's see what I mean real quick. Let's put him on. This is a really good thing to look at too. I'll show you one more thing on props.cash that I would really recommend doing. So he's at 9.5 points, right? Let's trim his threes and filter that to, threes made rather to if he doesn't make 2, what happens if he makes 0 or 1 threes? How often does he go over his points? And the answer is rarely. 5 out of the 33 games where he hit 1 or fewer threes, he went over. So if you're taking the threes or the points, you should probably just be taking the threes. Now the points are a bit better, but still you need him to take other shots. And he's taken mostly threes. He's taken 7.5 shots per game. 5.5 of those or 4.5 of those are threes. So a few of them are going to the rim. I don't really love that for him when he has to meet Gafford there, even Lively there at that point. So I'm passing on the points for Wiggins alone and just kind of move past that, to be honest. But like I said, that might just be a place that you take the threes instead. Nothing here for the rebounds. I know he's going to be on the floor for a while, but yeah, I mean, it's not something that I want to have to bank on. If you look at what he's doing in the playoffs, there's nothing else there for me with Lou. His whole job is like hit the open 3 when we get it to you and stop Luka on defense. That's what we care about. Let's see. Good look here. Appreciate this from G Lynn. He's saying if anyone wants to take SGA triple double, it's better on these places, whatever. And yeah, you can get, oh, that's interesting. So if you're gonna take the triple double, if you go to BetMGM, you can get 10 RA plus 10 assists combined and parlay that for plus 4,000, which is like he's clearly going to get the 10 points. So I love this logic. This is a really, really good look from G Lin Fang there. That's awesome. I like you sharing that, man. Appreciate it. So if you're going to take triple double for SGA, you might get better odds if you just parlay the rebounds and the assists together. They both have to happen for him to get the triple double. That's hood math right there, baby. I like that. All right. Keeping it moving. Whoa, we got a sneaky hammer for Lively assists. I'll take a quick look at Lively. First, I had Jay Will. I can tell you right now for Jalen Williams with a Y, Jay Will. Like that's ballsy, man. If you want to take Jay Will again because he went off last game, consider that. Like, let's see, we're in the playoffs now. So he's got 9 and this is rebounds. Excuse me. If we look at the points, 4.5. I know he hit a bunch of shots yesterday. He also got in there but he still only played 16 minutes, 14 minutes in these last 2 games, right? Took 6 shots in the 14 minutes that he played in the game 2 days ago. It's not something that I want to bank on happening that consistently. And I don't have any information to tell me that he's going to be in there more at this point when they can just bring in a guy like Aaron Wiggins to take Giddey's minutes instead of Jalen Williams. They wanted him for some boards and stuff, I believe, but obviously the fact that he barely played in the second half. Let me go back to my box score real quick and go back to game 2. and see when his minutes were coming in, right? So if we look at why did he get minutes? Did somebody get fouls for this team? Let me look at this real quick. So Q1 was when he was started popping off, right? Where's Jay Will? Yeah, look at this. 5 of his 6 shots came in the first quarter. Dort got 2 fouls right away, and then that was the first sub, right? Was Jalen Williams, I believe, or maybe not. No, yeah, he came in at 5:57. I'm sorry, I got to go back to popcorn. Come back, popcorn. Yeah, there we go. All right. Pulling popcorn this game back up and looking at Jay Will over here. He came in right here for Giddey. Okay, so he was the Giddey sub at first, and they liked his minutes, but then they got Aaron Wiggins in there in the second half, and that was the dude who took Giddey's minutes. And then for Jay Will in the second half, you only had him play a small stint right here for 4 minutes and a small stint in the fourth for 3 minutes. So he got 7 in that quarter in that game. He got 7. Yeah, he got about 7 in the first half, 7 in the second half, and took a lot of shots in the first half, and that was it. He took 1 shot in the second half, and that terrifies me. Let me get to my right stuff here. Back in this game, if we look at the second half for Jay Will, he took 1 shot, 1 3, and he missed it. So just be careful. Like the usage is what I'm looking at, and the likelihood that he keeps going over is not that high. Now he's got to make 3 buckets, or he's got to hit one of those threes. How many did he shoot yesterday? He took 4 threes in that first quarter, or no, 3 in the first and 4 and 1 in the second half. So that doesn't give you a lot of margin for error, man. I got to pass on that. I know he could go off. Example A would be Ben Shepherd yesterday, right? Ben Shepherd was a dude everyone wanted to take consistently, finally came back down to earth, missing his shots. And now I don't know if people are going to be as excited to take Ben Shepherd. So we'll see. Maybe Cranks on Will, because Dom D is a true a day one when it comes to the role players. But either way, let's keep it moving. I can already tell you that I'm not good there. Yeah, I do like I lean towards the over for SGA PR, and that would be my preferred bet for SGA. If I'm putting him in a bet here, is the PR. The assists are what start to scare me a little bit more. Watch him go off, obviously, from the assists, because I'm saying that. But on the road with the dudes that he's got, like with the role players needing to hit shots off of his passes, now I'm a little bit less in. I will say Josh Giddey not on the floor gives him a better shooter to get those dimes to, so it does make sense. But let me try to close this stuff out. I do want to, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not betting on Kyrie. I don't know if there's any way to find an edge. It's just like, is Kyrie going to Kyrie this game or not? And that's the best I got at this point, because 8 shots last game for Kyrie when it was like tailor made for him to start going off. And maybe they wanted to get Luka going. So, but I mean, I guess that did lead to assists for Kyrie. All right, I'm looking at Kyrie, 24.5 points. I know people wanted to go under that before they went over, right? And I kind of like that look. Yeah, he dimed up last game. I don't know how many of his were actually to Luka. How many potentials did he have? Hold up. Looking at the potential. He had 20 potential assists last game, and Luka was shooting hella more. And then Kyrie was the man out there for a while. That's the other thing with Kyrie, was that he was the facilitator and the leader of the offense for those minutes that Luka was out in the third quarter. Luka only had 15 potentials because he came out and missed some of that third quarter. So I don't know how to tell you to bet on Kyrie, y'all. Like, I really don't. My favorite bet for Luka was the first quarter points. That's scrolling on the bottom. I made that official. I know this game is about to tip. So the only other thing I would add here for DJJ is I do think he's safe from getting, now it's at 9.5. So look at that. It's actually gone up, because it was 8.5 for him last night for these points for Derrick Jones Jr. Not sure what people are seeing there. Somebody would tell me if there was a late injury, right? I got to imagine. I know y'all usually good at that. So let me see what the projected minutes are again for this team. So we got Giddey starting still, but they have him at 20 minutes. I don't believe that. And Jay Will, they're basically just copying what happened last game, to be honest, with these projected minutes. So I think that's a fair projection for everybody. But yeah, and then I want to look at DJJ. My bad. So Derrick Jones Jr. projected minutes up to 31. Interesting. And Tim Hardaway still at 18. Josh Green at 19. Exum at 7. What's Exum stuff at? I've been trying to fade him. I know Cup of Joe took an Exum bet yesterday. I think it was our last game. It was like 2.5 points. Doesn't even look like we're getting any Exum numbers up here because of how few. Oh, there we go. My bad. 1.5 points, man. That's hilarious. How many shots did he take last game? You can only get this on MGM. 6.5 minutes of play. Took 2 shots, missed them both. So you went under in this last game. I don't know how they find minutes for him anymore. And the fact that they don't like him, I mean, Josh Green took his minutes now. That's his rotation, right? So Josh Green's his points went down. Interesting. But it's only available on BetMGM, eh? Let me pull up. And this game is probably starting as I'm speaking, so that's probably a big part of this. Let's look at the Boston game, because I think we're good on this one. You took over 1.5. That's fair. We'll see if he gets a shot up. I think that's good. Yeah, I took Luka over 7.5, so 8 points is good to go. And yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think Benjamin Miller's point about OKC and the money line is fair, especially because for Dallas, it's a lot of variance. They got to hit those threes. So let's move past this one. I got plenty of bets that are scrolling on the bottom line if you're just showing up. I'm going to do a quick run through with this Boston game for about 20, 30 minutes, and then we'll call it for now. Also got projections videos for tomorrow's games coming up later. So make sure you check those out. I'm going to get those out as early as I can today and make sure that we get what we need. All right. Let me see. I'm going to add some of these other bets. I saw a Mobley bet. I think Mobley double added to stuff is still good. So keep that in mind. Let me put Mobley DD in here. I think if you combine that with some stuff, I think Free Sauce is talking about that in the Discord. By the way, I still like Josh Green. If you can get a Josh Green bet in there, I really do like that. And let me see real quick what he's at. I took him last game. I still like his stuff. Put him at, okay. So it does say 5.5 here. I think that 4.5 was incorrect. And you can get it on some books if you want 5.5. I still think it's a pretty good look for even money, man. I know he made a bunch of shots last game, but how many did he shoot? He was 3 for 5, 4 for 6. So he still needs to hit 3 of his 6 buckets. If he takes 6 shots, which I think is a fair projection. I'm off Josh Green for this game, but I still think it's a good look. Let's pull up Boston and Cleveland. Let me start over here on props.cash. I got Mobley in there. Make sure you jump in the comments with a bet if you have one. I got Kornet rebounds in there. Can you even play Kornet if Tillman is getting run? Yeah, it kind of seems like Tillman's about to be the dude in this game, more in terms of backup center than Kornet. That might be the case. I'm not necessarily like I don't think I like those rebounds. Let me just see real quick. Stu's still loving the lively assist on the kick out, bro. That's a good look. When you find a center that you think is going to get offensive rebounds and then kick it out, those are great assist numbers. We did that all last playoffs with Kevon Looney when he was getting boards against the Kings, right? So that's a good look. I respect the projection. If that's what you have him do in this game, then you can make some good money on some parlays, like lively assists with Derrick Jones Jr. threes. Like that's a sharp play if you have projections telling you that that's going to happen in terms of offensive rebounds to assists. So I like the fact that you have like a game plan there, bro. That's smart. Fade Horford. I haven't talked about him enough. He's usually going to be a fade before anything else. So let me put Horford in here and take a look at like threes and stuff like that, because I appreciate that look from Sean Fellon, my fellow Knicks fan who knows that we just got completely dicked last night. Like, fuck those refs. Anyway, Boston, Cleveland. Let me kick it with Jared Allen's officially out. Does anybody have that? I don't even know if we're going to get that. I'm sure he's still listed as, I think he was at shoot around today, actually. So let's hold up real quick. Was that not a message that I got? Let me see right quick. All right. Thunder starting. Giddey's still in there. Okay, whatever. Good on you, I guess. And then, yeah, Jones Jr. still in there. Everybody's still in there for Dallas. All right. So for Jay Allen, he's present at shoot around. That doesn't give us too much. That just means he was present at shoot around. So I don't know what we do with that yet necessarily. I don't think that's it, if you will. So let me move past this. Let me close some of these too, so I can just get on my grind real quick. I could probably use these. All right, pull up this Boston series. Let's go to last game real quick. What did Cleveland shoot from 3 last game? Something stupid. So my bets for this game real quick, in case y'all missed it earlier, I've got 2 bets in. I've got a SGP in the first quarter for Tatum and Brown, 5+ for Jay Brown, and 6+ for Jay Tatum there in the first quarter. Jay Tatum plays a few more minutes, but Jaylen Brown takes just as many shots and keeps going ham in the first quarter all season, getting 5 points a lot. So we still like that, and I like them in the first half. All this has been scrolling on the bottom line, so I hope you checked it out already. And it was also in the video last night. But this is another little best bet from this game, which is Boston to be leading at the half by 5. I think that's a good look. If we go back into, let me get back to Boston live here. So what I've got right now is Mobley double-double, and it's tough with Mobley because of the fact that we've got the possibility of Jay Allen playing, right? So what do we do with that? Like, I think I got to stay away from Mobley for right now. First of all, he didn't play most of the fourth quarter because of foul trouble, but that's not what I'm worried about. It took 15 shots. Obviously, Donnie's going to be doing his thing. Karis LeVert got 21 last game. So, like, and he didn't even hit a 3. That's impressive. DG 4 for 5. Donovan 5 for 7. This team shot 46% from 3. They are not a 46% 3-point shooting team. That's a big part of this too. Like, some of it's got to come down. Maybe they have one good game here at home, but I still think that Boston can take whatever shot that they throw at them on the chin and still come back from it. So I'm just briefly looking out here. So Kornet got 12 minutes here, and Tillman got 11. Tillman's a better matchup for sure because Kornet got used and abused by Evan Mobley. Let me go to matchups real quick, see what the deal is with that. So if I put Evan Mobley on offense, Was there anything indicating that Tillman should get a few more minutes? Not really. I mean, Cornette did give up those 7 points to Evan Mobley when he was on the floor. He was a complete turnstile. But they didn't bring in Xavier Tillman to guard him. Like he didn't do anything. He was only on him for 15 seconds, and it was probably because he got switched on him, to be honest. So I don't think you really care about that stuff. Like people freaking out about Luke Cornette, maybe. But obviously, if Jared Allen plays, then Luke Cornette's a way better play in this one. I can't reasonably assume that Evan Mobley's just good for points until I know that Jared Allen is not in. For the rebounds at 10.5, if Jared Allen plays, then I still like I like the under more than anything. If we look at Evan Mobley with Jared Allen right now, right? So with Jay Allen, he's down to 9 boards per game on the season. He's at 40, he's averaging 15.5 points. So the points might be a better look than the rebounds, to be honest, against the Celtics team is in general. Especially because, well, they'll still be good at rebounding, but 15.6 points without Jared Allen in 49 games or 53. It's still like right on the edge, right? He's looking at 30.4 minutes. And in the playoffs, what's he been doing real quick? In the playoffs, he's been averaging 33.6. Jared Allen been missing some of those games, obviously. I think 32 to 34 minutes is probably what he gets in this game. And so with the amount of shots he's taking, yeah, I can't condone much of like Evan Mobley. Now, the double-double is still probably a pretty good look for Mobley. Let me put him in the prop finder real quick. Mobley double down here, minus 120 on FanDuel. That's the best price I'm seeing. It's a good look without Jared Allen. It's a very good look. And now it's a little bit scary that he might be playing. So you got to consider that. Let's see. Yeah, game time decision for Jay Allen. So that's going to be something we don't know, which makes it scary to bet on Mobley. You're probably getting good value if Jay Allen is ruled out with the minus 120, but you lose that value immediately if Jared Allen is in, and then you probably won't be able to quickly enough fade that bet and hedge it, right? And a hedge of this would be like, okay, we take the double, but then Jared Allen gets ruled in, so we take under 10.5 boards or under 10 boards, so under 9.5 boards. It's still not, there's no value there. You're not going to get a good middle. You're not going to get a good anything. So I got to pass on Mobley with the Jared Allen news so up in the air. I don't think that's worth even talking about, to be honest with you. And it's really because of the rebounds. I think the points are still going to be a good bet for him. And 14.5 is a lot though. So keep that in mind. Like 14.5, it might be okay. 15 shots for him. He's got to hit. Yeah, it's still possible if he takes 15 shots, and he's got to be aggressive, which they want him to be. So I think it's still a good look for the points, to be honest. The rebounds I'm staying away from. If you're going to take him, I think you take him for the over 14.5. Man, minus 112. It's not much of an edge. Minus 112, but that would be the lean right there if you wanted anything for Mobley. So let me put him in here on the bottom line. Under the leans for Mobley, it would be over on the points / under on the rebs if you do take Mobley. Let me try to make that clear. Over points. You get what I'm saying. All right. Let's move the Cornette stuff. It's down to what, 3.5. You just got to ask yourself, is he going to play? And he only got the 12 minutes last game. Is he really at 8.5 points? What in the what? No, that's wrong. Yeah, there's not even odds for it. Right? No, there's no way that's true. So something's not pulling through correctly. Let me go to the Celtics game real quick. Pull up points. We don't even have Luke Cornette points, so that makes sense. Rebounds, they don't know what to do with Cornette because they don't know if Tillman. I think everybody's waiting on more information. Minus 148 to the over, plus 124 to the under, which he did last game, right? He went under. He had 3 boards last game, but he was getting those boards, obviously. But we're talking about 18, 21 minutes of action here. This is scary. Yeah, it's scary for Luke Cornette at this point. Like, I got to pass because I don't know. Let me see what they got him projected at here. If we go to projected minutes on RotoWire, for Cornette, they've still got him at 16, and they've got Tillman at 8. So they don't think that that's happening. They think that it's still going to be double the Luke Cornette to the Xavier Tillman ratio there. I don't want to mess with that, to be honest, because I don't know what's going to happen here. He was pretty unplayable in this last game, was Cornette, giving up those 7 quick points to Mobley, who just took him to the lane and got rebounds over him all day. He was just not helpful in that last game. Mobley, we've got at 34 projected minutes, but this is Allen game time decision as well, right? So they have him playing, and if he does, giving him 29 minutes. So Mobley should still out-minute him, which makes sense if you want to go over. But yeah, you got my lean there. Let me look at, if you want to take Tatum first half, I don't do the fantasy stuff as much on DFS, Nate, but if you like it, I'm still with that for Tatum to do well in the first half, especially before he might take away in the second half. And yeah, Tatum under 27.5 points. It's still scary, but it's a better look right now. He's just a head case and he's not making shots. So if you're going Tatum points, I lean to the under before I go over. And I'll just put that here on the bottom line for y'all as well, that like, I'm not making a bet, but I would go Tatum under until he proves otherwise. I don't know what, like, it's, the roulette wheel has landed on under for this man so often right now. You just got to keep playing the hot number, which is under for Jason Tatum, just to make a little reference there. All right, moving into a couple other guys here for Boston, Cleveland. And I'll be honest, I definitely looked at the other game a bit more, obviously, as I had a few more bets for that one, but in part because Jared Allen is such an impactful player, y'all, that like you got to be careful with that. Let me see. Since I moved on from that, the Tatum rebounds are still alive, but he dicked us last game. He didn't even try in the second half to get rebounds. His rebound chances last game, 13, because in the second half, he just like didn't give a crap, dude. So it was tough. That was really disheartening. I still think rebounds for Tatum are a good look because he is their basically best rebounder. And when Al's out there, Al's maybe a little bit better, but Tatum is getting all of those easy rebounds as he's standing close to the basket. Down low, he and JB continue to be pretty good for the rebounds. Let me look at Brown real quick. He's at 6.5 boards. Yeah, that we lost the value. He was at about 5.5 earlier in the playoffs, and then we lost the value with 6.5. To be honest, he's still guarding. Like, here's one thing I'm looking at real quick. If you look at both these dudes, and this is what I talk about with rebounds, you want to know who guys are guarding. So if I look at Jason Tatum on defense, I'm going to see JT is playing some Evan Mobley, Max Strus, Karis LeVert. Okay, he's still guarding good players, actually. This isn't holding true for him. What I was trying to say here is Jason Tatum is not guarding good players, but they're both actually now getting on the top players on the other team. So I can't really use that logic anymore for those two dudes to get rebounds. The logic here for Tatum is just that, like, I like his ability. He's going to keep getting those boards close to the basket. That's really it for Tatum. Let me see if there's anything else that you guys wanted to look at before I just move on to what I got. Oh, yeah. Sean wanted to talk about fading Horford. Let's look at that one real quick. And I know this other game's starting and I got to go watch it. So we can take a look at it, but I'll be in the Discord too. If anybody has any questions, hit me in Discord. Link is in the description of the video if you want to jump in there. It's free right now. You can ask me. You can ask one of the other cappers that we got in there, and I'm calling them cappers these days. They're the member cappers, but we got a couple dudes of their own channel because they've been doing work and grinding those stats. So where's Papa Al? Where are you at, Papa Al Horford? At the top, at the tippy top. So points, 9.5, rebounds, 7.5, assists, 2.5. Wow, he's not diming up at all anymore, huh? Let's look at potential assists for our mans. 3.9 potential assists. That is not very many. He's at 2.5 still. Wow. In this series, he got 4 in game 1, then only had 3 in this last game. Man, I just never know with Al, man. I really never know. Like, Papa Al might have woken up with back issues just because, and how am I supposed to know how he's going to play that day? 7 threes he took last game, and he missed them. So he's just make or miss. I mean, he hit 3 of them. Interesting. My bad. He hit 3 of 7. That's still a really good percentage. What's his 3-point prop at? 1.5. It's not terrible. This is in the playoffs. 1.5 without KP this season. Hitting 2.4. 15 of 22 that he's gone over. They're giving us minus 125. Let's put Papa Al through the little model real quick, and then we can go watch this Thunder game. All right, we got Al, Papa Al. Let's do threes made. Let's give him 1.5. We got, I forgot already. I'll do it up here because it's usually a little bit more accurate with Props Madness. Pulling up Al's threes. I know you want to fade his PRA, so just give me 1 sec, though. Let's do the line that I'm looking for on threes made. You can get minus 124 bet online. So, yeah, it is minus 125, and the under is 105. So those are decent odds from DraftKings. Over is minus 125. This is 105 to the under, minus 125 to the over. Minutes average, we're going to do without KP. Let's see real quick. We're looking at 30 minutes. What's he been in the playoffs? I just want to make sure I'm not doing this wrong. In the playoffs, he's been about 26. What about in the playoffs without KP? 3 games, 26 minutes. Yeah, I think 27 to 28 minutes is a fair projection. So we'll give him 27. We'll give him 28. That's what he's been playing. So, but this is made threes on the season without KP. So without KP on the season, this is at 30 minutes, right? All right. Well, I'll give him the 29.7. So 29.7 minutes that he's played in the games without KP. The prop average in those is 2.4. We need him to hit 2. So if we project his minutes at 28, I think that's probably fair, right? Like, do we give him 30? No, we don't give him 30. We give him 28. And that's probably the high side for his projection here. So 28 minutes. The probability of the over is pretty high. Let's see what the numbers here. Probability of the under was plus 105 to minus 125. So plus, where did I lost it? Let me pull up my calculator real quick. Going to calculate this and go watch that Thunder game real quick. So if I put in American odds of plus 105, I'm looking at a 49% chance. That is the under. 49% to the under. The over, yeah, they don't want us taking an under on this. The over at minus 125 is going to be, I should already remember this, but I don't, is going to be 56%. This is going to tell us to take over for sure. And it's just going to be a make or miss thing. 34%. I don't have anything telling me he's going to get more or less threes against this Cavs team unless they really want to get out on shooters more. But there's nothing that I've read or anything that indicates that he should get an uptick. I think the threes are a better over, though. Once you get to 1.5, minus 125, we'll put a half a unit on it. I get screwed by homie every time I fucking bet on Al Horford. I swear to God. So how many? Let me see what I got here. I took the Luka bet. All right, I'll take Al and put half a unit on it. Papa Al over 1.5, 3 p.m. And we're going to take that for minus 125 on DK for 0.5 U. But in these situations, what we've learned, and let me see if I'm not messing up what he's done in the playoffs here. Without KP, let's do playoffs. Is he just broke right now? I mean, he's at 1 for most of these playoffs. He's only hit 2 or more twice now. We probably lost some value with the minus 128 too, if minus 125 compared to what it was last game, since he just hit 3 of them. You know what I mean? Yada to mean the attempts in the playoffs. Yeah, this is the first game without KP. He didn't have to play very much in this game because it was a blowout. 7-9. This is gonna be risky. This is gonna be a little bit of a risky bet. I'll leave it in there for now. I will leave it there at that. Well, yeah. You asked about PRA, so just give me one sec. That's a good point. PRA to the under. Wow, this is nice. This is in the playoffs. Let's look at during the season without KP. So 17.5 on the season and 27 minutes without Kristaps. He's at 21.2 in 29.7 minutes. Let's just run that through real quick because I do like an under for him there. Papa Al again. Let's do PRA. Let's do 19.5. I like this look from you, Sean. So I'm going to take a quick look at it. The odds that we've got here for PRA for Al, just to make sure we have the most updated ones. 19.5. You can get minus, well, if you have Pinnacle, let's use DK. We'll do minus 110, minus 110. So this is a nice even line here. Minus 110, minus 110. Minutes average, we're going to do the same sample size, right? So we're going to do 29.7, and we're going to put it at, oh, come on, man, 29.7, and we're going to look at the prop average here, which would we say 21.2. 21.2, and this is without Kristaps on the season as a whole, but this is in 29. Oh, whoops. So the minutes average is 29.7, and the projected minutes tonight are 28, right? So 28, he's looking at about 19. It probably won't be much of an edge, but I would lean to the under. Yeah, I would lean to the under for sure. So they're both minus 110, which I should for sure have memorized, but I don't. 52% for both of these. 52. So the edge is closer to the over than the under, honestly, is what they're telling us because of the money and what he did and without Kristaps this season. I know he's gone over hella in the playoffs. If we used his playoff numbers real quick, 16.7, he got close without Kristaps in this one. But yeah, this is if you use these numbers and you put him at 26 minutes too, then that's something. I think the under is a better play in the lean there for him, but I'm good. Yeah. What's up, Joe? We're about to call it for now, y'all, but jump into the Discord if you can. We've got the link in the description of the video. The schedule here moving forward is going to be projection video tonight for tomorrow's games. Then tomorrow, we're going to do this a little bit early tomorrow. I want to make that clear to everybody. 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday is going to be the live stream. So 1 p.m. EST Sunday, because we all got Mother's Day stuff to do. Tell your mom you love her, buy her a gift tomorrow. You're welcome for reminding you. But the live stream is going to be 1 p.m. Eastern, not 2:30. So 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for the live stream for the games tomorrow. Projection video tonight for the games tomorrow. Hit me up in the Discord. If you don't have props.cash, make sure you jump in on that. If you want it, 25% off if you do use the code right there. LYB24. So the link to props.cash is also in there, but it is just props.cash. It's the name and the link to the website. So go ahead and jump in there. That's what we've been using all show. Appreciate you guys joining in. Let's go Knicks. Until I see you next, happy betting.